So, what does it take to be a military mom, balancing service, family, and personal ambition? Today, we're going to sit down with the incredible Drea Jones to hear about her story behind the military working mom. So, Drea is going to cover three areas. Number one, it's developing those side hustles when you're still working. Number two is navigating the chaos that is being a mom. And number three, practical advice and mindset shifts to make it all work. Hey, Drea, welcome.
Hey Liz.
Yay. All right. So I have known you to always have your hand in something, side hustles. We were just commenting in the back, you have a project that you're working on, whether it's a project or a side hustle. What was the aha moment for you where you decided to start the military working mom?
So I became pregnant in 2020.
Mhm.
So for those that maybe just came in the Air Force or military in general, just like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, there was not a lot of resources, and the barriers that have been broken for women definitely weren't there yet. So being pregnant and being in the one atmosphere, I was realizing there wasn't a lot of resources for me to like go and be like, hey, how do I do TRICARE? What are my benefits? How to do XYZ? And because there was COVID, it was like, hey, do I get a doula? Do I get like all these different things that I couldn't figure out? And it wasn't in any pamphlet of what the heck do I have to do to get a dependent under me? Or like when I get out of the hospital, what do I have to do? There was no checklist. So I just decided that, hey, if I couldn't find it, I did dig. I went to the women's initiative team at the time. And I said, hey, is there something for this? And they said no. So I was like, fine, I can financially support building a website because it is expensive, and making a resource for it. So I made a checklist for all services. So I interviewed quite a few women across different services to say, hey, once you get out of the hospital, here's your checklist. Like before, like during your pregnancy, here's what you should be doing. Right after, immediately after, go get CAC, go get XYZ. If you're dual mill, get XYZ for this. And then 30, 60, 90 days, and then a year out. Like, what should you be doing? So after I made that doc, I was like, okay, where to house it? All right, a website. Well, what else to put on a website? Because I hate talking about myself. So, originally I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a blog and like, just lessons learned. I'm like, I can't. I'm not that open, even though I think I am. I'm not. So what it ended up turning into was this aha moment of, okay, I don't have all the answers, but I'm really good at finding answers. So I ended up creating a podcast called The Military Working Mom. So back in 2020, that I interviewed women, civilian sector and military, active duty and retired, on how to be successful, different eligibility benefits, different methods for childcare, all this good stuff. I mean, it's still out there. A lot of it, of course, still has like the COVID taste where we're all just, locked down.
Mhm.
But just trying to get the resources out to the different platforms for service women. Because I think that is the hardest thing is there are honestly thousands of platforms, but
Mhm.
knowing which are your main audience to target to get the information out is hard.
Oh
So
my God.
especially it is very service specific. So I was trying to be service inclusive, making sure to cover all bases. So of course that branched out then to making sure I have a Facebook for the social media, and Instagram just followed because I never had an Instagram for myself, so I just made one for that. Now all that to say, I think I stopped it in. I did a little over a year of podcasts, and that was
Mhm.
every week putting one out. So it was a lot of work, guys. Like, so I will say, before kids, life is your own.
It's the
During the
like.
first year of kids, life is still your own because they're little potatoes, right? But then life got busy, and I think about a year and a half in, I tried to restart it back up with an episode, and then I just couldn't. I did not have the time. We moved overseas for 3 years, so we were in Korea for 3 years. And just that time difference, just like you're in Hawaii, uh,
Yeah.
is hard, especially with a little one and working. So it's that balance. So that was my aha moment was I need to get a resource out there because obviously if I need it, other people need it. We ended up putting them in some of the HR departments on different installations just to get checklists out, but that resource out. And then, of course, the podcast is really nice because if you're driving to work, you can just listen and learn. And something to have military centric rather than the mom podcasts that are civilian that really, yes, they relate, but not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some isms being in the military.
Oh, absolutely. No, like when you said checklist, my heart just like it grew, because we get so accustomed to that. We say, okay, what do I need to do next, right? And we kind of think about maybe someone has, like my story. It took us 5 years to get pregnant, so we focus so much on, okay, well, how do you do IVF? Well, you get to that next step, and you're going, oh my gosh, like I don't know what the next step is. So yeah, just even checking out some of your resources, it was like amazing to see how still relevant it is, even if it's from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think I did an episode on IVF too and the
Yeah,
benefits
yeah,
and what you're
hmm,
covered for.
yeah, yeah, and it's actually, it definitely is costly, but you have children, you know how costly they are, so it's like, well. But so when we talk about side hustles, right? This isn't your first side hustle either. But if you're talking to someone, like if they feel like similar to you, maybe they find a need and they want to fill that, or you're looking to just make some extra income. What's a practical recommendation that you would give that person to say, like, hey, make sure you consider this or use this tool, right? I love to be able to like pick people's brains. Or some people say like this is a horrible, platform for a website. Like don't ever use it. Then
Yeah, so first let's backtrack. Let me do a quick intro of myself because
yeah.
I think this will paint the picture. So I am, active duty. My
Mhm.
husband's active duty, so active duty spouse as well, and
Mhm.
then a mom, right? We already kind of mentioned that. Um, with that going to play, yes, I have always normally had a side hustle of some sort because I'm a busybody and I have to stay busy. But what I have noticed, so I'll say side hustles anywhere from flipping homes in Florida when we first met, right? That was
Yep.
great, but no kids. Wasn't married at the time. It's great. Going into the podcast, I've been a Mary Kay director,
Mhm.
um, and then that was kind of the side hustle. But what I realized was when you have the time and you don't, I don't want to say this wrong, but if you have a void at work, right? If your work isn't fulfilling, you have time to do something else and focus somewhere else. So
Mhm.
that is when you can really dedicate other time to side hustles. Now, when you do shift to a job or a career or a position, whether that's temporary or not, that does is a passion of yours and really takes a lot of your time. You think about it at home. That's not a bad thing, but your focus shifts, right? So
Mhm.
again, this is just what I was mentioning with the podcast is hey, started this in 2020, went through almost a 2022,
Mhm.
pause, break, right? Life happens, job comes in, uh, continued a little bit, tried, new job, loved it, stopped. Couldn't
Mhm.
take it, right? Because you have to balance. So if you have a side hustle, realize that, hey, your career may take a little step back because you can't possibly focus 100% on two or more things. And that's just my personal opinion. Maybe you can, but I feel like if you're not focusing 100%, which isn't a bad thing, you don't have to.
Mhm.
Your focus goes elsewhere, but you have to know when to shift back and forth and that balance of it. Um, so that's the side hustle part. So now that I am in a position where I actually love what I work, but I don't think about what I do, but I don't
Mhm.
want to hone myself down, right? Because I have kids that also have now we're in sport age, so every night we are gone till 6 p.m. doing sports. Um, I'm going to call them hobbies now, right? So that is more of the um, projects that my husband lets me do in the house. And I say let because I will destroy the house if he doesn't. Put some boundaries on that. Um, you know, we will restart the military mom podcast. So, for future kind of Buster is me and a few of the spouses that I know are going to get together and restart up the military mom for the different aspects, which is going to be phenomenal and hilarious because they're wonderful women. And then, you know, fitness is a new thing. So I've started teaching at the Y here locally, and that is just a stress reliever, but also something to pour back into the community, right? So, yes, it's not a side hustle, but it's something where I can give back without dedicating, my brain power to build a business.
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
or,
What are you doing?
so right now I just taught boot camp for the first time today,
Okay.
and we'll grow from there. So this is brand new. We've been in the works probably about for 2 months, but it's taken a long time for the onboarding. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I've been doing classes for a year now, and I love it, and I love the ladies. These 70-year-old ladies can kick my butt because it's wonderful. So since I have a prior, back in college, I went to school for fitness, and then
Mhm.
had my own boot camp, like a side hustle, right? So had my
Yes,
own boot
yes.
camp before I joined. Um, just thought to get back into it.
I love it. I love it.
I think I answered all your questions
Yeah,
there,
you
but
did. Yes. Okay, so we've answered the kind of question of how this came about, and if someone wants to do a side hustle, what to look for. Let's talk a little bit about the chaos of motherhood, right? And I always love to ask moms, what's the one of those mom moments where it either had you laughing or crying or just wondering how you even survived the day.
so Liz gave me lovely, wonderful prompts before this, and honestly, I couldn't think of one. But about
Oh.
an hour and a half ago, I was giving my children bath, right? So one's 5, one's 3. So we don't take them baths at the same time anymore because they're both boys. And my 3-year-old's in the bath, and he loves to just go in there. And he goes, "Hey, mama." So I come in, and he's in a normal bath, not a bubble bath or anything, just a normal bath, and hands me his cup that he pours over his head for shampoo, and it's yellow.
Oh.
And I was like, "Buddy, did you pee in here?" So he was laying down in the bathtub, had the cup out, and was peeing over from the bath into the cup. 3 years old. And I was like, Brad's over here busting up. I'm like, how? I don't even know what to do right now. Right? I don't want to laugh and encourage this. I don't want to yell at him because it's not bad. I just don't know what to do. So it's one of those moments like I think before being a mom, um, especially in the workplace, like your compassion, it's different, right? It depends on how you grew up, how all that dynamic. So my compassion was like low, very driven, and like, why aren't you at work? I don't understand. Becoming a mom, I was like, wow, I made so many horrible decisions. Like, I feel so bad for the people that I did X, Y, and Z to. And now it's just like, I think having children is so good because it
Mhm.
tests your stress levels. I wear a Garmin all the time. It's wonderful, and me and Brad love watching our stress throughout the day to see at what moment, at what thing happened that just skyrocketed. But yeah, so I think that's just one of many moments where it's just like I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, it doesn't, they don't come with manuals, so that's one thing to consider.
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah, the mom life is just crazy. Why I
Mhm.
love the military working mom, and the way I phrase it is, hey, you are always multiple people, right? You are a mom, you are a wife, and then you still have to be you. You are your military self, your career, or just you. So you have to balance that, and it's just, and when I say balance, I would say flex through, right? You're gonna
Mhm.
kind of ebb and flow
Yeah.
through each phase as it's not all about you. If you've seen the Bluey memes on Facebook, if you are a mom, I know you have, it's like, hey, it's not your time. And it
Yeah.
relates so much. I'm like, yeah, it's not my time. Like, I don't need the clean house right now, obviously.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but then at work, right? So it's like this is when I just get to like have my time, my focus, and get
Mhm.
ready to be home and enjoy that time. So kind of sector it off and understand
Yeah.
that every day is not going to be the same. You possibly cannot have a steady battle rhythm.
Yep. Yeah. That expectation, I think, is what can be really crushing. And even you giving that example of like balance. It made me think of in Hawaii, surfing, right? And there's just different types of waves, and you have to strategize, right? And sometimes, like, the only way, you may be swimming, and the only way to get through that wave is actually to like dive underneath it, right? It's not always gonna just be how we think of it.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
gonna pull on the thread that you just said because I think it's important for anyone listening. Is you said, hey, the expectation. So
mm-hmm,
there's two different expectations, but there's really only one that matters, right? So,
mm-hmm,
whether you're working or you're a mom, either one, it is a whose expectation are you actually trying to live up to? Because most likely it's your own, right? So if you're like, man, I really need to be to work right now, like I bet you if you explain to your boss the situation that's going on, they're gonna be like, why are you here? I cannot tell you how many times I have guys coming in off paternity leave real quick to do something that could have absolutely waited. I'm like, why are you here? Like, oh, we need to catch up on email. Go home.
yeah.
Like, just go. So
Mm-hmm.
it's know what is real. Speak, like talk to the people around you to make sure that what you're thinking is true, and then be okay
Mm-hmm.
with changing your expectations. Like you're gonna have that expectation mind shift, right? And that's to our mind shift point of from pre-mom to
Yeah.
mom to again career. As you go through those phases throughout the day, you're not the same person. You absolutely can be, but your mind has to shift, right? I can't
Mm-hmm.
tell my kids what to do because they ain't gonna listen. I can tell you what to do that. And same thing, right? At work, you just can't tell someone to do, but it has to be completely different than what you say to your kids and how you approach your kids.
Yeah.
So you just have to understand that flexibility. And then again, back to expectation is it true or is it something that you're imposing upon yourself?
Yeah, that's a great like just piece of advice to make sure you have like some sounding boards around you, and then just being in different environments where like working with mental health, they always say like don't should on yourself, so you're like, oh, I should do this, and it's like, well, where did that come from? So it's a great I love that like takeaway.
Yeah.
um
It's easier
I
said than done though. Like there has been
right
so many
like
times where I've taken my kids into work. Like
mm,
so many
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Did I need to do that? Probably not. But I need to get stuff done and I thought I needed to be there.
Right, it's just part of the journey, and I love it. I always love when people bring in their kids. Actually, I think it brings a just different element too. So,
My
and maybe
boss
it's
loved it too.
paper shredding at the same time, right? Like, oh, what it is, kids love to shred paper. Like,
Mine always got the candy jar in my boss's office. They would
oh,
be like, Drea,
that
what
was
moved down? Oh, Trip was in there all day. It's okay.
nothing to see here.
It's okay.
So you're very organized. I would definitely say in terms of just how you do that. And so, is there something like whether it is how you organize your thoughts or your day that has been something that's been really helpful that you would share with someone that's like younger in their journey?
So organized, you have to elaborate on that one for me. So organized in like task driven or organized in, you know, kind of conquering events as they come. I think it's two different approaches.
True, true. I mean, which one do you resonate more with? I guess you're right because when you say that. Hmm.
Yeah. So I've honestly, I have still yet to this day, like I'm over halfway done in my career, right? I haven't figured out the calendar system. I have a paper
Oh,
calendar. I've got a phone calendar,
yeah,
like
that's cool.
because I work in a skiff behind where I can't, so it's just
Yeah,
yeah.
calendars, all the calendars.
But something we just recently did that has completely changed our family, completely changed our health, completely changed the way the kids function. And this is not a sponsor by any means, and I can't even remember what the darn thing's called. I think it's
Oh,
called the skylight.
ooh,
Um, looking at the app. Yeah, the skylight. So it's
okay.
the digital calendar that I remember a couple of years ago we were looking at it. It's like on your wall, looks all pretty, like a
Yeah,
little
I've
computer
always been
screen.
advertised to it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so we saw it at one of our friends' house. We're like, hey, can we take a look at this? But it is amazing because,
Mhm.
me and Brad had been using Google Calendar and we'd used
Yeah,
Cozy before.
used it before.
Um,
Hmm.
but the only thing is it's on your phone. So again, both of us working in locations where we can't have our phone on us all day long, I
Mhm.
am working off then my work calendar, writing it down in my paper calendar to bring it to my phone, and I couldn't. So
Mhm.
having a calendar in our house that is up all the time where you can just glance and see what's going on and not have to open your phone. Because we also, I don't know about you, but another reason why I wear my Garmin is to find my freaking phone because
Mhm.
I can't
Mhm.
find it half the time because the kids have
Mhm.
it or it's in the couch. so, um, so the Skylight's been amazing for the calendar sync with us, but also the health aspect. It has like this menu where you just say like, "Hey, I want to do like we started Whole30 back in January, so it was a sidekick recipe builder. Hey, I want to have a meal that is Whole30 and I have pork in my fridge and need to use pork, right? And XYZ. And it will generate a recipe or find a recipe online. Or if you find a recipe that you want to do online, you just copy the link, paste it, and then it builds the recipe for you
Shut
and
up.
puts it in your grocery list. So it says, "Do you
Ugh.
want to add the list to the groceries?" So that has been like that in 2 months has changed our health, has
Mhm.
gone down waste in food, like and
Yeah.
by doing that because we had been trying to meal prep for like 5 years,
Yes.
and it ebbs and flows, but by
Mhm.
having that automatically sync to our grocery list and us just being able to go through real quick and like X off the things that we already had makes life so much simpler. And then on
Take home
top
money.
of,
Like,
right? That's why I'm like, if you have it, again, we bought it on Costco. Again, not
okay.
sponsoring, but
Yeah.
Costco has a better deal and it's a whole free year subscription to the
That's sweet.
Plus stuff
Yeah.
that has all this. But for the kids, so if you have kids of chore age, so I would say probably 4 or 5 or older because they come. Actually, our 3-year old kind of likes it too because you can make put emojis on it.
Ooh, of
But
course.
you assign chores to them, and each one
Mhm.
has a certain amount of points, right? So we have like, hey, when you get 20 stars, you get $1. When you have 40 stars, so every time they check off a point, it goes up, and then they can see under the rewards how close they are to getting that reward.
Mm.
So even if not kids, but if you are reward benefit and you're like, hey, I have this many tasks to do, like at
Yeah.
work, right? If you start
Mhm.
checking that off, you can see how close you are to your actual goal, and it's visual.
Yes.
So
Ooh.
that has changed our life, honestly, and over the last 2 months, like we've become a very happy family because of that.
I love
It's
it. And that's
crazy that something digital can do that, but it was something that we could have on our calendar. And when it's not on the calendar mode, it goes through pictures. So it's wonderful.
I mean, the visual aspect is so huge, and I agree with you too. Like, it's ridiculous at this point how many calendars there are. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no words.
Yeah. But that's something to
Well,
keep us organized.
yeah,
Um, and then
yes.
at work, honestly, so I keep the method that I learned when I was doing my side hustles is every night, right before you start the day, because that next morning you're going to be off running, right? No matter
Hmm.
if you're a 4 o'clock in the morning person, I am not, or a 7 o'clock, like you wake up and you go, especially with
Hmm.
a family. So it's like, hey, that night, decompress, make your to do list, and the to do list should be no more than 4 to 5 things. If it's that, it's overwhelming and you're not going to get it done. So, what are the 4 or 5 things that you have to get done that day?
Yeah.
The rest can wait, and then you can do those the next day, right? Don't even
Yes.
put them on that list as like optional because if you see them,
Yeah.
overwhelmed, 4 to 5 things. So, that's kind of like the task driven work organization is hey,
Hmm.
I have my little paper book because I can't have my phone, right? So, I'm like, hey, here in my calendar are the 4 things I'm getting done tomorrow.
Hmm.
I go into work and I don't do anything until I check 2 of those off. So,
That's so much more digestible. It really, really is. And it also really tying back to what we kind of talked about with expectations is nothing worse than you write out this big list, you have these great ideas, and then you're sending a signal to yourself saying like, dang, I failed, I didn't get this done. And it's like, no, it's not gonna happen. It's just not realistic, right? So being able to recapture that and ask yourself like, okay, Drea, what's the most important thing I need to do tomorrow that aligns with my goals? Like that's just such a like better way to manage things.
yeah. And sometimes it's not stuff that aligns with your goals. Like tomorrow, like we know it's going to snow here on the East Coast on Wednesday. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, crap. My Thursday thing I was going to do is probably going to get canceled. What do I need to do tomorrow?
Yeah, very true. Well, if you're loving this conversation, please make sure to check out Drea's platforms. They're going to be down below, but she does have an Instagram, Facebook, and a podcast. All right, Drea. So, you've already shared your mom life hack, so you're just like so amazing. But my question to you is like, if you could go back and you could give your younger self some advice, like, what's the one thing that you would tell her?
So if I had to go back, there's a lot of things I would tell myself. Um, just keep them alive is what I would tell me. Just, uh, no, I would say like you don't believe everything you see, right? And you know that in the back of your mind, but
Hmm.
you are the same as everybody else. The struggles you go through, the thoughts you have, the way you act, you're not the only one, right? So like when I get together with my girlfriends, I'm like, man, she's such a good mom. She's so calm. But then we talk offline and we're just like, so mother. So like, oh thank God it's not just me. Or like just you need to find that person. Here's what I would tell myself was like one, just know you're not alone. We all
Hmm.
go through it.
Yeah.
Two, find someone you can be completely honest with.
Yeah.
Someone that doesn't judge you, someone that relates to you, someone that can just be your sounding board to know that, hey, I'm not the only one. So I've got one of my girlfriends and she'll be on the new podcast and we send gifts constantly back and forth no matter what time of night. Just like I can't believe it. Like whether it's husband stuff or kid stuff or even just us, like
Yeah.
you need someone to make you feel like you're on earth and
Hmm.
not isolated.
Yeah. Oh, that's so huge. I'm so excited. When are you guys gonna relaunch?
So I'm actually going TDY with her in a couple days. So I'm going to bring my podcast up with her. She doesn't know yet, but when we're in the hotel together, so because there's four of us. So well, I love it. And again, military working mom. I've told you the three aspects, and it's not only active duty. So I'm active duty. One girl's reserve. The
Yeah.
other used to be active duty, got out, and then one completely out, just a spouse. Not to say just a
Yeah.
spouse, but like she's awesome
Yeah.
spouse.
It's a different
So it
perspective.
covers, yep,
Yeah.
all covers all perspectives, and
Mm.
not from one person, but from different angles. So I'll say we'll relaunch soon, but with the expectation of I'm not doing an episode every week anymore because understanding again that was my expectation I put on myself, and now it is probably going to be a once a month thing because it is so hard just to get together with friends.
Oh gosh.
Um,
It's a
so
miracle. It's a miracle. I know even us getting together, I was like, I'm so sorry. We had a plane crash. Like you can't make it up. Like
yeah, so I'm super excited. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so awkward
oh
for the first
my
one.
God. Well, I think it's just such a great reminder, right? Because we've all, whether it's in our career, right, or whether it is in our journey of being a mom, we've had people. Like I can distinctly remember, it's like how we met is through another person who had helped me through some really difficult times and just um, sometimes we don't always reach out. Maybe we don't reach out because we feel like embarrassed or we just feel like that, hey, maybe Drea doesn't have time, right? Maybe she's busy, she's got, kids. I'm not gonna be able to pick your brain. But on the flip side, when you do take that one step and you say, hey, like, I'm not doing well, or can I pick your brain on this? 9 times out of 10, it's always really encouraging, and you leave with more tools, with more resources, or just like more importantly, a different perspective. And I love what you have done with your platform to be able to create some of that synergy. I was just looking on like the socials and just seeing how people were like sharing stuff and like, oh yeah, that's happened to me, or like, just that information sharing. So just thank you so much for not just seeing a need and going like, oh, that stinks. I guess I'm gonna get all this information and I'm not gonna share it with anyone. So
Yeah. So I do have one thing that I want to share. So I learned this on the road while I was with some awesome people, and some people have been in 40 plus years. And I don't know if you could see this. This is my like rough drawing, but I'll send it to Liz. No, you can't.
oh, okay, yeah, no, it's my
um,
turn. Aha!
all right. So I had a mentor that sat me down like, Drea, what do you want to do with your career?
Mm,
Right. And again, this gentleman's been in a long time. And so I was like, hey, I want to retire. And he was like, it's for when you are family oriented and when you have a military career, your progression will come with your energy, right? So when
Mm,
you look at what you want to do, don't look at career. I want you to look at outside. So what I want you to vision, I'll share Liz
I
this
love
image so she can post it.
that. Mm-hmm.
But think of a vertical time chart, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, here's your military progression going up. At what year? I was like, hey, I'll probably retire like maybe 22 years. Like, let's at least get to 22 years, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, here's this 22-year mark. So at one side of that career, right? So it says 22 years in, you've got
Mm-hmm.
what are your family milestones? When are your
Okay.
kids reaching high school? When are your kid, when are the decision points in your personal family that
Mm-hmm.
you are going to be like, hey, I need to stay at this space longer because I need to keep them in school. Is that going to be middle school? Is that going to be high school? Where does that go? And hey, in college, do I want to be overseas? Where are those decision points? Hey, my wife is, for me, it was like, hey, my spouse is active duty.
Yep.
When is his critical milestones that is going to
Mm-hmm.
lead to a pinnacle of mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that I think is kind of you know this, people think of this, but what I never thought of, what I love now, is this other piece, right? So now you're on the other side,
Ooh, okay.
and it is your extended family. Who's
Mm-hmm.
taking care of your parents? Your spouse's
Mm-hmm.
parents, right? When
Yeah.
does that normally come? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that normally
Milestone.
comes at the same time as
Yes.
all these other milestones happen. So as you're reaching the peak of your career,
Yep.
doing what you want to do, right? You're hitting all these other stressors. So how can you look at that now from both sides, right? Grandparents, parents, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Your family milestones. Where do you need to be? Not what you want to do, but let's mesh those two out. Where do you need to be mentally
Yep.
and or physically, right? Like, hey, do I need to move a location to be closer to
Mm-hmm.
XYZ during that time frame? And what time frame is that along your career progression?
Yeah.
Right? So you have that mental mind, that mind model. But now
Mm-hmm.
let's go a step further. So then, in order to do any of that, to keep going, because every year flexes, like when people are like, hey, are you going to stay in? I'm like, every year changes.
Yes.
Because it literally does, depending on what goes on, how I'm working, how my family life is. But there should be 6 things that you have written down with you on your spouse that you
Mm-hmm.
agree upon. And those
Mm-hmm.
3 things are what are the well, 6 things, but what are the 3 things that put energy or drive into you? And I'm
Okay.
not talking about fitness, but what gets you up in the morning? Like
Mm-hmm.
what are the 3 things, only 3, that if someone like says, "Hey, let's go do this," there's no hesitation in your mind. You're jumping up and going to do it. Right? What are
Mm-hmm.
the 3 things that drive you? And then what are the 3 things that just suck the energy out of you that you don't want to go on? Right? And you need to know that. And you need to know that as a couple to be like, "Hey, here are my like 6 things. And what do I need to avoid, right? Or what do I need to just understand when I hit this? How the heck do I get out of it?"
Mm.
So, what does that look like for you? And it could be a lot of things. But if you have your career progression with the milestones that will kind of locate you and hone you on where you need to be at what point in your progression, along with how can I just survive the day to day, I think
Yes.
that'll balance you out.
Oh, I love it. I cannot wait to like that is an
Look at my
amazing
rough drawing.
meal. Oh yeah. Oh, that's perfect. No, thank you. And just thank you for taking the time to really give practical information too. It's really one of the things that we're always I love it when someone's like, "Oh, just be yourself." Yes, like there's a lot of great goodness in that. But when you can walk away with like, "Hey, I can do this mental model even if you're early in your career and you're not there yet, like you're going to be there." We were all new in the service at one point and we were just not thinking about those things and then here we are halfway through our career. So that is amazing, and man, I love it. Any parting words?
I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up at the Military Working Mom. Like I said, look forward to the
Mhm.
new podcast. It's going to be great with all aspects. But just know that you are good enough the way you are. It's about you, it's about your family, it's about everyone, right? It's now how do you make sure that you can flex through that, understand that you are not the only one going through it, and then don't be afraid to talk to somebody.
Yes, yeah. So if you found one of these pieces of nuggets just really powerful, please put them in the comments. Make sure you follow Drea on one of her socials, and we'll see you next time.